Welcome back, everyone. In today's transformation, I will be turning me or myself into a fight scene. So before we jump into Photoshop, I took these two images, and with these two I wanted to basically create a scene where, I was having a fight but with an evil counterpart. But in this case, my evil counterpart is going to be the winner of this fight, which I know is kind of backwards. So yeah, you'll just have to find out later and make your own story. Moving on to the concept, I basically wanted to have some kind of secluded battle arena type of scenery where the fight takes place. So for the two of myself, I wanted myself, the real me, to be lying on the ground, losing the fight, but the counterpart is standing above me holding a weapon to my throat as if he's about to, finish like the fight. So yeah, and then basically, just have a nice mountain range view backdrop and a few other elements, and that will conclude the concept. Without further ado, let's move on to Photoshop. Now that we are in Photoshop, the first thing that you want to do is grab your image, or in my case, images. So yeah, this is B. This is going to be the evil counterpart, and for the second image is going to be me, actual me, on the floor getting my ass beat and stuff. But that is not the point. Okay, so the first thing that I want to grab is basically just my platform that I'm kind of laying on, because obviously I gotta lay somewhere, can't be in midair. Something like this. Yeah, this will work. And with this platform, I'm basically just gonna kind of build around it when I cut it out. So let's go ahead and cut this out really fast. Quick select tool. I'm gonna grab the quick selection tool and basically just kind of clean it up a tad bit. Oops. You have your little platform, and then let's kind of scale it up a tad and move it down a little bit, not too high, not too low. Okay, and then let's kind of drag it underneath since it's supposed to be under me, and then just kind of adjust it to there. That'll do. All right, the next thing we want to do is kind of add more elements around the rocks or the rock platform to make it seem like a battle arena kind of vibe. All right, so we're gonna grab like these little spiky rocks that I found, and we're gonna put these behind the platform and scale it up accordingly so that it can kind of look sinister in a way, give it like a vibe as in like we were kind of set up for this or something. Scale up a bit more. That'll do. All right, and then we're gonna duplicate it, Control J, and then move it over, and instead of having it the exact same way, we're going to transform it and flip horizontally, kind of like reflecting if you use Illustrator. Now for the next part of the image, we're going to get our main backdrop. So for that one, I was thinking something like it looks like I'm on a mountain type of thingy, so I decided to go with some kind of like a mountain distant with like some snowy biome-ish. I don't really know if that's snow or not, but it's something. It looks cool. Like, just look at this. So beautiful. That is the background complete. Alrighty. So for the next step, what we want to do is basically integrate my weapon of choice. And in this case, it is a battle axe. Yes, it is a battle axe. This one particularly looks pretty freaking cool if you ask me. So let's kind of put that in my hand in a way that we would kind of like envision it. So something like that. And bow. Now the next step is to basically put the weapon in my hand. So let's go ahead and do that. Alrighty, shall we? So we're gonna select myself on my layers. So control click, and then what you want to do is basically grab the quick select tool, convert it to a smart object. So layer, rasterize. Oh my god, bro, why does it never do that? Yeah, y'all know what to do, bro. Rasterize. Oh my god, it's still not letting me. Yep, who cares? Oh. Alright, bro. Yeah, next thing you want to do is just deselect the parts that we do not need. And that was a bit too much, so we're going to reselect that again. All right, that's a bit much. Let's kind of get rid of some of that. All right, now that we have that, what we're going to want to do is grab or press B, sorry, and then no, E. Sheesh. And then yeah, we're gonna want to erase the parts. No, I said it wrong. Fuck. Dang it. All right, bro, look. Basically, wait. Give me a sec. Okay. So, change of plans. What we're gonna want to do is press V, select the axe, and we're gonna want to click filter and liquefy it. Reason being is because the handle is too wide. So we're gonna want to shrink that a tad bit, you know, give it a little dent. You know, just a slow. Now that actually looks like it's in my hands. So BE shit, and then select the X, and then definitely delete. Definitely delete these parts of the X for sure. But this is the tricky part. This is the part where we make it look like it's actually in my hand. So some of it isn't going to be cut off, only a tad. Because again, it's supposed to look like it's actually in my hand. So, alrighty, it's gonna look very wonky. Do not mind it though, only because my hand is actually very wrong looking. So yeah, this is what it's going to look like. I know it looks retarded, but trust the process. Trust the process. Fuck. Let's fix the leg placement now. So I need to make it look like my foot is on the inside of his leg. So by doing that, what we're gonna want to do is select myself. So control click, select the top self, press E, and then basically just delete the part of my foot that's inside of his leg, or yeah, like that. Okay, boom. I know one, and I always forget this midway through. Control click, filter or select, modify, contract. Let's do by 1 pixel. Click OK. Command J. Boom. Delete the other one, and we now have a better looking one without the white edges. Let's do the same thing for the bottom one. So click, control click, select, modify, contract by 1 pixel. Click OK, and then command or control J, and then delete the bottom layer. And boom. Ah, shit. Oh, let's just grab that and shift. Oh, shit. And just kind of see like pixel. Okay. Boom. And all fixed. Let's do a little bit of color balancing on the rocks. I want it to blend to the main background because that is the biggest subject in the entire frame. So, or at least that's the color of the atmosphere, I would rather say. So let's go to the rock on the far left, click an adjustment and add a color balance, and make sure you clip it by holding Alt click. And then let's start balancing it. The shadows are a very dark and pale blue. So let's start by moving that over. Adding a little bit of, just a tad of cyan. Now let's go to the midtones and do the same thing, kinda. Boom. Alrighty, and then boom. Probably thinking it's still a little too orange, brown, whatever color that is. Don't worry, there's a thing for that. What you want to, and I wasn't finished either. So what you want to do? Grab a hue and saturation layer. Also clip that one. Next thing that we want to do is colorize it. Actually, yeah, we should have just colorized it from the get-go. What the hell? Silly me. Alright, yeah, and basically kind of move it to the bluish side. So the blue is a little more on the purple-ish, indigo-ish side. So let's kind of that over there and desaturate that a ton more. Alright, and then boom, we have our rock colored. And to make things easier, just highlight both of the layers, hit Command or Control J, and move it up to the second rock that we have. And then we could do the same thing for this platform, but we won't make it the exact same color though. Okay, and I feel like that should be fine. So let's copy this, Control J, and then copy it to the second one for me. I'm just not. What the heck are we doing? All right, there. Oh, a little too blue. All right, boom. Now let's do the X, but this time we can use a hue, saturation, colorize, clip. All right, and boom. We have successfully blended everything together color-wise, or balanced everything color-wise to our scene. Alrighty, now that we have finally finished the color balancing and building our scene, it is now finally time to move on to the blending process. Again, that includes shit. Again, that includes a lot of highlights, shadows, and a lot of finesse. So without further ado, let's get started, and yeah. Alrighty, now that we have finally completed the blending process, all that was left to do was just add some finishing touches and a camera raw filter for some sharpening and for some final color grading. After that, this is how it turned out. In my personal opinion, I feel like this is by far one of the, like, I'm not gonna say the worst ones I've done, but my least favorite ones that I've done in the transformation series. I wish I could have done a little bit better in terms of making it more dramatic and just adding more elements to my character to really set them apart, and you know, just adding more visual eye candy. So yeah, just let me know what you guys would like to see next in the future videos, because it is hard to come up with ideas, I can't lie. Anyway, without further ado, make sure you guys like and subscribe and comment down what transformation you would like to see next in my future videos. And without further ado, I will catch you guys in the next one.